this is Emily Josephine, and today my husband and I want to show you how to build a top bar beehive. A top bar beehive is a more natural way to raise bees and extract honey. You can read all about that in any of the several books out there about top bar beehives. But if you're interested in learning how, this video will show you step by step how to put one together. First of all, I want to let you know that we got the instructions on how to build it from a website with which we are not affiliated in any way. We were listening to the Survival Podcast by Jack Spirko a few years ago, and this guy was a guest on his podcast. And he was talking obviously about top bar beehives, and his website is biobees.com. Biobees.com. And that's where we downloaded the free instructions on building a top bar beehive. The second thing I want to throw out there is we don't stand on ceremony. If we're making a video and we're out there homesteading, we're dressed just like we would. We're not going to dress up for a video to do an ugly, dirty task like sawing wood and all that. So my husband's clothes don't look very pretty, and that's because it's real life, people. We don't dress up to do, to go out into the garden and to take apart brush piles and to build things. So just throwing that out there. All right, well, I hope this video helps you. Here we go. How to build a top bar beehive. Okay, Jerry, so first of all, explain to us everything, all the lumber you had to buy to make this beehive.
Okay, this is 1x4. I'm using it to make the top bars and the ridge around the roof, this part of the roof.
Yeah, so as you can see, we've already have one hive finished. This is the hive on its side, and that's the roof over there. So how high? So these are 8 foot long?
Yeah.
8 foot long 1x4s?
What fits in my car. You don't necessarily have to have them that long or that short. And then 1x12s for the sides and ends.
Oh, sorry, those are the 1x12s.
Yeah. I'll explain that later. And 2x4, treated 2x4s for the legs.
All right.
Okay, now. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is cut 2 strips out of some of these 1x4s. They're 1 3/8 inch strips for the top bars. So I need to cut these 2 strips out, and then I'll cut a groove in each of these strips for the guide.
Okay, some people don't understand what a top bar is. So what is a top bar in a top bar beehive?
So this is a top bar, and it has this little groove where the bees start making their comb. You fill that with beeswax, and then you put it upside down like that, and the bees just build their comb down that way, and you can pull it out.
And that's how you harvest the honey.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, let's get started on cutting for those top bars.
Okay, you ready?
Go. Okay, so what he's going to do next now is the gouge where the bees will build the hive from. So point to where the gouge will be, right in the middle of that middle piece.
Yes.
Yeah, so what he's got here are 2 skinny pieces of wood. And then what is the measurement of this piece?
1 3/8 inches.
So this is a 1 3/8, and then he's going to put the line in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Jerry's got one of the finished top bars. So tell us about it.
It's 17 inches long. What I've done is I cut the guide in the 8-foot piece.
So by guide, you mean that gouge in the middle where they're going to build their hives?
Yeah, where they start building the cells.
Mm-hmm.
And I then cut these into 17-inch segments.
Okay. Then we're going to go on to the next step. So what's the measurement of this board again?
So this is the follower board. So you measure...
What do you mean by follower board?
Now let's get one of these.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, well, yeah, why don't you... Benjamin, can you grab one of those? Benjamin's going to be our Vanna White. And if you don't know who Vanna White is, you're going to make me feel old. So
these, you can control how big the hive is. And you can also split it into multiple hives.
okay, so it's called a follower board. So that's what he's going to be cutting here. And you'll understand better what a follower board is when we put the whole hive together.
Yeah, so it's 15 inches here. Then this
So
is 7.5.
15 inches at the top, and then you
have a middle line, 7.5. And you use a square to draw it straight down, and then it's 2.5 on each side at the bottom, so 5 inches here.
Okay, so then you're going to cut that out. All right, so Jerry has cut out 2 of these follower boards, and he just, with wood glue, attached one of the top bars on top of each of them. And they also, after he puts the wood glue in, he screws them in, make them nice and fastened. Okay, so what's the next step we're going to do?
The next step are the sides and ends. The sides are, this is a 3-foot top bar, so we cut 2 3-foot sections for the sides and 2 18-inch sections for the end pieces.
Okay, great. You can start cutting?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so what have we done with the boards that you cut?
Alright, I've set the follower boards up on end and squared them off.
So FYI, this is upside down.
Yeah, this is upside down. And now I'm putting the 2 sides.
And those, what length are those again?
3 foot.
So those are 3 feet.
You can do 3 or 4 foot, depending on. And then now you'll notice that these are extending further up than they should. I want to need to mark the places where they meet and cut off the excess. You may also notice that this one isn't quite as high as this one. Not sure if you can see that. Where I get lumber anyway, some of the 2x12, 1x12s are a little wider than the others. So just as a note, if you run into that problem, you want to get both sides out of the same 2x12 and hopefully the widest one.
That's good advice.
The next thing I'm going to do is put this side here, and then what you do is you'll use a pencil to mark here and here on both the inside and the outside, and that'll show you where you can put your screws. And one other thing I noticed, I put small nails here to keep the sides in place temporarily.
Okay, is that it then? Are we on to the next step?
Yeah,
Putting the sides on?
Yeah, we'll be drilling in the sides, marking them, and then drilling them in.
Okay, what you see here is the finished, well, not completely finished, but the finished box, the main part of the beehive. You can see here where he has screwed in these 2 boards. And he's got follower boards in here too. So you move these 2, you can either have 3 separate hives Or you could just, as this beehive grows, use the follower board to expand the beehive. So what he has next to do is to put window screen at the bottom of there. So we'll check that out after he finishes that. Okay, so now Jerry's got the bottom part of the beehive on its side, and he's got the treated wood clamped in place to get screwed on as the legs. So what's the next step here?
Alright, I just measured 5 inches to here, and that's one corner, and the other corner is at the corner of the side. And then I've used this to measure 2 inches down, and I'm going to cut off the top here.
Sorry, 2 inches down from what?
From the top of the beehive.
Okay.
So I used the square to measure 2 inches. That'll cut off, and then the top will sit on top of the legs.
Oh, okay, so you have to cut off these parts in order for the roof to sit down correctly.
Right.
Okay.
And I've marked where I'm going to drill. And then we'll drill.
So the number here, the number 2?
Yeah, I'm going to
1, 2.
I'm gonna number the legs and write the number on the beehive.
Oh wait,
as well.
so that's the drill spot, the little X. Okay.
Yeah. So that I can keep the legs in the right place. Because after I drill, I'm going to take them off and then do the bottom, do the other parts before I actually attach the legs.
Ah, okay. You mean the window screen and all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We may even paint it before we attach the legs.
Okay. Sounds good. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
All right, well, let's see what it looks like when he gets through with that.
Some of the sawdust out. More centered. Alright. Ready?
Yes.
But
So what is that little piece for?
what I did, well, it's to go in here. It fits in there so that you can staple the
Window screen?
window screen into it on the edge.
Aha. Okay.
So it goes on both ends.
And then you're doing something with a follower board.
So this is how you make those, is you just mark like that, and then that'll give you the shape you need for those two little boards.
Alright, so we'll see how that's fastened.
And I'll use glue and short nails so that they don't go all the way through.
Alright, so that little board you saw he was cutting, he's now got it attached here. So there's wood glue behind there?
Yeah, and
then
short nails.
Short nails.
Nails that are short enough that they don't stick out the end.
Okay, so they don't come out over here. Alright, so you've got those on, and now you were ready for the window screen. What's the window screen for? Kind of obvious, but...
Keep them from coming out the bottom.
Hello. So all the honey doesn't drip out, and all the bees don't fall out. And
I'll try to line it up. And then just staple it on. I'll staple it to the sides and to the end board.
So Jerry is telling me that in the instructions we got from biobees.com, it does not say to put a strip of wood down the middle. Jerry, don't you know that you're always supposed to do exactly what the experts say? No improvising allowed. No, just kidding. Okay, so why did you do that?
The window screen is a little more flexible than I think what they use. So to make sure we have a good seal between the window screen and the follower boards, I put this here to support the window screen so that it doesn't
Stick out
too much and have a hole under the follower boards.
That makes sense. Very good. I have a smart husband. Okay, and now how are you going to attach this? Just drill it in, screw it in?
Yeah, I'm going to screw it in on each end.
Okay, so we'll see what that looks like when he's done screwing it in. Okay, tell us the next step. Now what are we going to do?
We're drilling the access holes for the bees. You drill, according to the directions, 3 on one side, 3 inches apart and 2 inches down, and 1 on each end on the other side.
Because of course the bees must have a way to get in and out.
I think that's because if you use the follower boards, then you can have like a hive here.
Oh, you mean that's why they have 3 on one side and 2 on the other?
Yeah, and then you could have a follower board here, and then the bees could make a new hive over here, and then you could move it to a new nucleus, right?
Okay, makes perfect sense.
We have to read the book to find out.
All right, go ahead and start drilling. That's a serious drill bit right there. Serious drill bit for a serious hole, but look how perfect. It's just a perfect hole. All right, so now we'll check it out after he's got all the holes drilled. So now we've got the finished holes, 3 on that side. And then 1 on that end, 1 on that end, so the bees can go in and out. And now this is actually ready to be painted. I say painted, you don't want to use something toxic, so what we're using, what the instructions tell us to use is, what is it, 1 part beeswax to 20 parts linseed oil?
Yeah.
So I figured out it's about 3.5 cups of boiled linseed oil, which you can find at any hardware or home improvement store. So 3.5 cups of that, put that in a quart jar, and then about 2.5 tablespoons of natural yellow beeswax, and then you melt that. You can either use a double boiler or one of our largest pieces of cooking equipment and dehydrating equipment, the cars. We just put the quart jar in the car, melt the beeswax. Okay, you can see that there are 2 jars. By the way, we are doing this video on the same day as the last clip. You might hear that it's gotten really breezy in the last half hour or so. We don't know why. It's bringing in clouds, for one thing, but this is the same day. It's just all of a sudden windy. But you see there's 2 jars there. This one, my husband is making some sun tea. Okay, it's another good thing that cars are for on a summer day. You can make yourself some sun tea. This is the beeswax and linseed oil mixture, and I'm going to poke my head in there now. Go ahead and get it. As you can see, I've got hot pet. Uh-oh, the lid is not on tight. Why is the lid not on tight? That is not a good thing. I don't know if he was afraid it would boil or what. Okay, I'm going to take a close look. We want to make sure the beeswax has indeed melted. And it looks all mixed up to me. What do you think, Benjamin? Does it look all mixed up? Sounds all mixed up. All right, so we're going to go over and start waterproofing the top bar beehive. Turn it off. Okay, before we get started, if you're like me, beeswax, what does it look like? Where do I get it? Well, we got this from Amazon.com, and it's we chose the brand Your Natural Planet, and they actually have a website. You could probably buy it from yournaturalplanet.com. It's yellow beeswax, 100% natural. It hasn't been colored or anything, and it's in little chunks, kind of little pearls. I'm not sure what you call that. You can buy beeswax in blocks, and you could use that for this. You'd have to cut off. You'd have to figure out, what little bit you'd have to shave off, and shave that off into the linseed oil. Okay, so we're going to put that down. I'm going to see if I can take the cover off without burning my hand. It's not that bad. Now, the trick about beeswax and linseed oil is the beeswax, we don't have to worry about it today because it's so warm out. I mean, it's probably getting close to 90 degrees already. But under other circumstances, beeswax will harden again in the linseed oil if you're too slow. Luckily, this job, get the sawdust off, it really doesn't take that long to coat the beehive. And we're going to do 2 coats. So I'm going to do 1 coat, let it dry, and then another coat. So here we go. I'm using a sponge brush that has been, I'm going to start over here, I don't know why I'm starting in the middle. A sponge brush that has been cut down to size to fit into this quart jar. Here we go. Alright, so I have finished the first coat to waterproof, and the cicadas are buzzing their approval. Now mind that the beehive, the bottom part of the beehive, is upside down. I will show you what it looks like right side up. And now Jerry is going to get busy on the roof of this thing. Okay, so for our first beehive, which is totally complete, we had leftover roofing material for the storage shed that Jerry made last summer. So that's how he made the roof. He used the roofing board. Is that what it's called? What's that called?
It's 1/2-inch OSB.
Okay, so the 1/2-inch OSB, and then tar paper, and then over the tar paper we put metal flashing. But he ran out of the OSB, so he's got to improvise a little bit and make another roof, which, by the way, in the instructions from biobees.com, they don't tell you how to make a roof. They just say make a roof. So he's got a really easy, if you're not a DIYer and you don't want to try to figure out how to build a gabled roof, he's got an easy solution to that. But gabled looks nicer, lets the rain wash off. But for the next one, since we're out of the OSB board, Jerry's got to improvise something else. So take it away, Jerry. Explain what we're going to do.
Okay, well this part is part of the directions, but
Okay.
You make a frame, a box frame. You leave a 1/4 inch big, and you have it a 1/4 inch bigger in every direction so that it's easy to take on and off. And these are the 2 end pieces, and I'll cut 2 side pieces like that, and then I'll glue and screw them together, and then we'll put the gables onto that, and then after that the roofing material.
All right, and so yes, the next step we'll see the finished frame there. Go.
Alright, this is the frame for the second beehive for the roof. It's just a rectangular frame that fits over the beehive. You can see it has some leeway, so it's easier to put on and off.
Okay, so let me show them what it is on the first beehive. So here's the roof upside down, so it's going to be this part.
You can see how it
That
rests
goes
on the
all the
legs.
way around.
You can see how it rests on the legs.
And then what's that cut out for?
This is for the gable, for the roof shape. So you put it there and we will screw it.
Attach it to the frame.
Attach it to the frame. And then we'll put boards on top of it.
Okay, so we'll see what that looks like. But first, Jerry's going to explain how he sketched out that piece of board to cut out for the gable.
So I started off, made a line 1 3/8 inches high there, and that gives you a space for you where you can drill into the frame, the roof frame. Then I took 20 inches, which will go all the way across the frame, and then 5 inches from this line in the middle. This mark is 10 inches, so 10 inches and 20 inches. And then 5 inches above the line up to here, and then connected the dots, and then these little cutouts are so it can rest on the frame, like that.
Aha! Okay, so now you're going to get that one cut out?
Yeah.
Okay, so now he's got those two gable cutouts there, and that one's just sitting waiting to be screwed in. And Benjamin is going to help Daddy with the drill and get that screw in. Alright, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, he's drilled the holes. Now he's going to get the screws in.
Hold it.
Excellent. Here's the completed frame of the roof with the gables attached, screwed in there. And now he's got to finish off the roof and get that all covered. Okay, so this is the first layer of the roof that Jerry's done. So these are two 1x4s, right, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got two narrow boards at the top, and then explain what you cut out to make that angle so they could meet at the top.
Yeah, I just cut out a little angled piece using the circle saw.
Alright, and that way they meet nicely. It's like a roof. And then
These are 1x12. It's actually 11-inch wide board.
okay, you can see how it goes down over there, so it'll protect the inside of the beehive. I'll get it going. Alright, so that's the wood layer. Next will be the tar paper. Okay, so here's the roof with the tar paper to protect the wood, and he just measured it and tucked it underneath here and here. It's tucked underneath and then just stapled. Alright, so the last layer on the roof will be the flashing. Alright, here we have the completed roof with the metal flashing on it. Of course, he measured it first, and again, like with the tar paper, he stapled underneath, and then these are metal screws. Put metal screws in like so to fasten the metal flashing onto the roof. Okay, well now we need to get the whole thing coated with the beeswax / linseed oil mixture and get the legs screwed on. And so that'll be the last step, is watching the legs get screwed on. Alright, well, we've had a pause in our beehive building because it's been so humid. The beeswax / linseed oil mixture has not wanted to fully dry, and also Jerry hasn't been able to get out here to finish the legs because we've had some rain. But now we're finishing it. The last part is getting the legs on. So Jerry, explain to us please how we do that.
So I've hammered or Benjamin's hammered these bolts into the holes in the legs.
And how long are those bolts?
Those are 3 inches, I think.
Okay.
And
And then you remember seeing him drill the holes earlier. He's got the holes, and so you just pound them in, and then you put the nut on the other side, right?
there we go. You can see how I've done on this one. There's one there and one on the other side. And there's a spider that needs to go.
So there's a washer and the nut. Yeah, this one hasn't been tightened yet.
Yeah.
I'm going the wrong way.
No, it's a lock nut. Don't bother with it.
Oh, okay. It's a man thing. Anyway, so when all 4 legs are on, this is what it'll look like on the top, and then this is what it'll look like underneath. All right, so in the last clip, we'll see it all put together. Well, there we have it. All 4 legs are on, connected to the bottom of the beehive, and now Jerry's going to demonstrate how to put in the follower boards and then the top bars. Da. So how many of those top bars are there?
I think I made 24 or 25.
Do the instructions recommend a certain amount? A certain number?
I probably did too many. I think it's for the 4-foot one they said 24 or 25.
Okay.
But
better too many than too few.
This seems to fill up the space.
Yeah. And remember, you put the groove side down because that's where the bees build their comb down from. And now here comes the roof. Ta-da! There we go. So this is the side with 2 holes. Remember, the other side has 3 holes in the middle for the access for the bees. All right, here we have our 2 top bar beehives. Now all we have to do is get some bees and get them making honey. Honey, my honey, thank you so much for being willing to do this video and for doing such an awesome job with the top bar beehives. Everybody give them a clap. Yay! You did do an awesome job, sweetheart. All right, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. If this video has inspired or helped you, feel free to click the thumbs up button and give it a share. I'll see you next time, and in the meantime, take care and be well.